She worked as a reporter at the BBC and left in 2008 to become a freelance writer. In 2008, Sahini won a Prix Circom for her investigation of fake universities, focusing on our international university. She was named European Young Science Writer of the Year in 2009. And then I thought, what is that young science writer, what that science writer means? Does anybody of you guys have an idea what it is? Let's see if somebody else might have a better idea, and then I'll add mine. Okay, it's a professional who researches, translates and communicates complex scientific, technical and medical information into clear, accurate and engaging content for various audiences. So it means she explains science to people like me that have no clue how to speak the science language, and then she comes to me and she tells me, okay, Erika, this is how that works. It's plain and simple. She's like a translator, translating a different language to us. So I found that very helpful. She's also well known for her feminist critique and on science, race and gender. And other books that look interesting for me is, and really I would like for you to go and read on your own, because I think it's going to be a very good book, and this is the next book I want to read, is How Science Got Women Wrong. So that seems like a very interesting book. Now, so why did we choose this book? Last week, 2 weeks ago, I talked to Doreen. I said, okay, this book, it's okay. And she said, yeah, it's a good book. And then just last week, I saw one of his presentations, Elder Palmander, where he again said, this is a book to read. So I'm glad that we have chosen this book, Elder D. So what is this book all about? And I'm going to sum it up in just a few short words. The first thing she's going to show us is that patriarchy was not a natural system. It didn't come naturally evolving. It was man-made, and literally man-made. And they did that through political choices, which she's going to explain much more about it. State formation, and I said, what is state formation? And I went and looked it up, and it says, which is concentration of power like tribes and chiefdoms and centralized hierarchies. It's like even like a tribe, and it's got a leader, and then on that leader there's a leader above that till you get to the king or president or whatever. So that is what state formation means. And then also property ownership and slavery is part of that patriarchy system that was not natural, and they did it all through these things that I've just read. And she's going to get much more into this. The book shows us how gender roles works and how they are different through cultures and even through time periods, and that the male power it's not static, which means it is not how would you say it? It's not. It was never like a false thing. It says it's written in stone. It was never there and did not move around. It was much more like a fluid thing, and not all nations had patriarch as leadership at stages. And I will show you next week. I will show you now. How do you call it? A map of how some places had more where women were leaders, and where and it will show you that not the whole world had run after patriarchy. There was a lot of women that ruled, and women dynasties, and we're going to get to that. And it was so interesting to me. It was also showing you the impact of colonialism. I've been really struggling to say the words today. And that culture of empires played a very big role to influence and force, I would rather say, rigid patriarchal norms to their colonized territory. Examples. The biggest colonized system that we know that influenced us in South Africa is, for instance, the British colonization of South Africa. And they brought a lot of their ideas and forced their rigid patriarchal norms to their colonized territory. So their views is now being integrated into South Africa, and also other lands. For instance, look like America was also colonized, and I mean that's the apathy of patriarchal system today. Canada, Australia. And that is just why, as they go on with colonizing areas, their sphere of influence was that of patriarchy and gender inequality. And a lot of the smaller, can you say, countries or people, there was also a matriarchy system, and they were abolished. Not that I say any of those two systems is a good system to have. I think the best system is a system where there is no inequality in any way whatsoever. Any questions?
Erika, do you want me to quickly share that map?
Oh, can you? Yeah, we can do that.
Just for a brief moment, and then I can
You
take
can
it
leave
up.
it up. You leave it. You can leave it. It's 100% with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to work with it. So I didn't do this ever before sharing my screen, so I am very far behind. You guys gonna help me next week. Okay, here you can see, and look at Africa. Can you see the matrilineal? How do you say this, Doreen?
Matrilineal.
Yes, I went to go search what does it mean. I thought first it doesn't mean that it's a matriarchal system, but yeah, it's another name for matriarchal. But it's very hard for me to say it. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but it is. Also, as you can see here, most of Africa it's a lot of women that ruled. Can you guys see that?
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Africa, I always said Africa was good till the Western world came in. Um,
Mm.
and then you can also see they're just above Australia on the right side. Can you see that on the right side? You also see very much
Mm.
patriarchal. So that was matriarchal. So it's very interesting how it's been, and even North North America, because I
Mm-hmm.
think the indigenous people. I don't know if it's the right word anymore to use anyway, because they are the true Americans. Um, that's how the true Americans look like, is those people.
Mm.
And you can see it was a much more balanced system. So, yes. Okay. Um, so, how do you guys feel about this? Are you guys surprised?
Yeah, it's very surprising.
Yes, I found it very interesting. Um, Please, if you guys want to share an idea or just a thought, it's always welcome. Um, I want us to go. Dee, can you put up that
Mm.
timeline?
Okay. From where? From the very first timeline. There you go.
I will do the very first, but I will not. I don't know what to say to you about this.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, because I think we rather should start where it started to influence us. So
Okay.
maybe we know there's history. Um, okay, okay, let's go to 750 BCE. Just something here I want to show you guys. I saw that. And now we know how Greek are now. They are very patriarchal. And we can see how far it went back. Um, and that is what they did with archaeology. They saw proof of the things they dig up, and then it shows them how far some of the cultures started doing things different. And here is what they saw something different here. Wealthy ancient Greeks' homes are divided into separate spaces for women and men. So it is very much patriarchal. If even the homes were separated between men and women, it's even worse than today. And we thought that it is bad. Okay, 700 BCE, the ancient Greek poet Hesiod described women as a deadly race and a tribe with a nature to do devil in his history of the world. So you can see the absolutely misogyny
Mm.
is it's got a long history, and that is why I think it's because it's so part of us that and so ingrained in us. Now it becomes even the part of the land's DNA, if you want to say it like that, that it's so hard to let it go. And that's why this is the last test that we have to go through, because it's the worst one. Now, around 622 BC, an early form of the Old Testament books of Deuteronomy is written, which has instruction for men how to treat women taken captive in battle. I did not look at that, to be honest. So I don't know how correct it is. Because if you have to go and look through everything she says, this book is going to take forever to go through. Does anybody have a comment on this? Be brave, my people, be brave. I'm trying to be brave. Well, okay.
Hello, Erika.
Around, oh, yes.
Yes. No, I just
Hello.
have a little comment. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I just have a little comment about the things that really surprised me, like the one you just read now. There,
Yeah.
I just went through it yesterday. There, where it says they were separate in homes. The homes were separated. The women were to live on the other side, and then the men were to live on the other side. So there's a lot I just picked up when I was reading yesterday, but I was just going through it. I didn't like put my mind deep into it. But it's really shocking how far that does this patriarch system comes and how cruel it is. And it's really going to be a very, very big problem to get it out of our system, because it's in us, it's woven into us, that we don't even see when we what I want to say, we don't even see when we're doing it. So it's really a big problem that needs us to ask the divine intervention. On our own, it's very difficult. So we really need the heaven itself to come down and be with us to get this thing out of us, because it's very deep. It's very deep. Thank you, Erika.
Thank you. And I agree so with you. And I don't think we will totally have it out of our system. I think the Lord is going to work with us even in heaven to have some of these issues situated and to be cleared, because we don't even, if it's such a deep darkness that we know it is, then we only see now like a person 50 or 60% blind. I don't think we even really comprehend the evilness of this system and how dark it really is. For if we realize that, I think the Lord has now let us go through this period of time so that we can see what sin does. Ellen White said, God is allowing this Sunday law thing to come so that we can see the sinfulness of sin, so it will never be repeated. But we thought it was just breaking the 10 Commandments, that's a sin. But really, what they're talking about here is, I think it's not only it's not only feminism, but also racism and all the isms, and the moment you look down at people, and I mean even the rich and poor, that system, how you look at it and how you look down at people because they have less than you, I think
Yes.
that is a huge thing, and I think that's part of the biggest problems now we're dealing with, is also that the rich and the poor. And Anna White talks about it, that people make other people slaves, and they live in their rich mansions, and God will deal with them when judgment comes. So I think that's very much part of what God is now going to teach us. And that's why, please, people, keep on reading and look at the news, what's going on. And you can see the evilness of sin, that you come to heights, evilness, the sin of, how would you say, the sin of looking down at people. I don't know, is there a name for it? Where you don't see people, inequality, the evilness of inequality. I think we're going to see that, and we're going to say, God, never are we going to touch on that sin ever again. So yes, and I think that is what this woman sees very clearly. She might not have everything right. And yes, please, we're going to see as we do her books, you have to remember, that's why I did her biography, a little bit of what she's about. Because it's so important to know who she is, that when we read about goddesses and stuff like that, that it doesn't, how can we read a book like this? Remember, that's not the sin of this time. So it's noise. Don't look at it. It's just noise. She's not failing for her time, the test for her time, which is sexism, feminism. She is succeeding in it. So let's not look at what her belief systems are, because we have to respect that who she is, even if we think it's not right. Don't let us now look down at her because of our knowledge. We might have the truth. Doesn't mean we have to look down at her and not accept some of the beautiful scientific work she had done in her books. So we're all grown-ups. We can discern from right and wrong, or we should be able to do now, by this time, because the end is so near. So when we read it, past the noise and look at what she is telling us. She is really succeeding in a thing that we have failed in from 1989, till God had really taken us by the hand and showed us how wrong is sexism and inequality. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right. Okay, I'm not going to do all of them, just some interesting ones that I feel that stands out for us, if it's okay. If you see something that stand out for you, please mention it. I will be too happy if you do. Well, the one year around 950 CE, a high-status female Viking leader and warrior is buried in Berka, Sweden. Now, Sweden was where the Vikings lived. That was more their area, around that whole side of Europe. So yeah, I'm not surprised. But what interesting for me is the Vikings they're always portrayed today. I'm talking about today. They're showing Vikings, and who's the most prominent that is being shown as in Vikings? It's always the men. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
Always the men stand out when you see pictures of the Viking men with the long blonde hair, and it's always the men. But look here, science does not agree with Hollywood today. It shows you women were Viking leaders as well. That's why the Vikings were so successful, because they did not judge women or judge men. They had a more, it seems like here, an equal society. And I would love to go and study it through sometimes and see what it comes of it. Okay. Okay, 1590. So this gets a little bit more newer, where we can say, okay, we understand now more its history. Meeting of Native American, oh, I don't know how to say that word. Would you excuse me if I don't say that word? 1950.
We can't say that word.
1590. That American something, okay? Haudenosaunee, Sawney, I know, okay, Sawney, I know. Haudenosaunee women in Seneca Falls to demand peace between their people. So you can see, and remember we saw that on the map, that North America there was more women that ruled. So yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, look there at the map where she shows it me now. Can you see there north? There is San Handon. Oh, yeah, that's it. There it stands. All right. So you can see women there were powerful, and they were seen as powerful. It gives, I've sort of, that's so nice. I thought the whole history was darkness. And now I say, okay, it has been hidden from us. It's not in our history books. They hide it from us so that we cannot see the power of women. Okay. 6080, the English political theorist Sir Robert Fulmer's Patriarchy defends the divine rights of kings by arguing that monarchs has natural authority over his people, the way a father does over his household. Does this sound for you guys familiar? It is clear that this is very patriarchal. And that is how they see it today. The man is the head of the household. And so is if a man is the head of the household, so then there must be what? A man as a leader of the country or the city or the of the church, of the name any instances where there must be a leader, and then you will, that example of Sir Robert Fulmer's will be used to say, no, a man is a leader in the house, so he must be a leader everywhere. You misconstrued everything. I call that dark history. I hope you guys agree with me. In 1765, the English jurist Sir William Blackstone Commentaries on Laws of England reinforce the principle that a woman's legal existence is incorporated into her husband's during marriage. So she has no legal rights. So as I did it a long time ago, they were allowed to use a whip on a woman. They even tell the man what the size of the whip should be and how many times it's good to hit a woman. Because she has no rights of her own, because she was not seen as a human being. Well, I get so cross sometimes. Okay. And then a wonderful one, yeah. In 1848. Can you guys see that on the screen?
Mm.
The world's first women's rights convention is held at the Wesleyan Chapel in Seneca Falls, New York. So, that's a beautiful
Same place
thing.
where the native women met.
Oh, yeah. At Seneca Falls at 1590, yeah. So, it's twice now that Seneca Falls play an important role for women's rights, isn't it?
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Doreen. Thank you so much. Okay. 1870. The Married Women's Property Act is passed in the United Kingdom, allowing married women to legally keep their own earnings. 1870. And for the first time, a woman can keep her own money that she works for? It is terrible.
Comment,
Okay.
Erika.
Yes, please.
You know the recent studies that Elder Paminda is doing on adultery. You
Yes.
remember how he adultery is defined in the Old Testament as only when a man has relations with a married woman,
Yes.
because a married woman belongs to her husband. She's the property of her husband, just like he has cows and cattle and houses and a wife. So if a man commits adultery with a woman, with a married woman, that's when it's defined as adultery. But if a man has relations with a woman that's not married because she does not belong to another man, then that's not adultery. So it was just emphasizing the legal rights of women and how women did not have an identity. It was all um, um, absorbed in the man's identity. So in many cultures, a woman is nothing if that's why
She
there's
was
a
a
lot of
table.
pressure in many communities for women to get married, because if you don't get married, you will never have an identity. You only have an identity as long as you're called Mrs. Somebody. And
And even
those,
today,
those,
it's like that.
yes, yes, in fact, yes, absolutely. Mm.
How many women sometimes would and look at the toys that are made for girls and for boys. Boys get the science stuff and the blocks and that's
Yeah, yeah.
and what girls get, they get a stove and they get an iron machine. What tells you? And a doll.
Indoors, yeah.
I'm not willing to buy my
And the cat.
granddaughter a doll. I will not. I buy her toy cars, and she loves them. So, yeah.
You know, can I come in,
Yes,
Erika?
of course.
Yes, yes, I'm emphasizing what the elder D has just said in our culture. In our culture, we were normally told that um, a woman's burial place, a girl's burial place, is at her in-laws. So where you were born, they're not expecting to bury you. As a result, when you get married, there's when they buy you things, like they buy you a bed, they buy you things you go to that house with, to your in-laws with. They don't leave behind the kist, the kist where you
What's
keep
that?
your linen, your stuff. The kist, that box. Yes. And then it is said that that kist symbolizes that your coffin is gonna be in that home, meaning you under no circumstances allowed to come back home. When you are sent to that house to get married there, that's where you will die there, no matter the circumstances, because they have taken you away from. Now you belong there. You see. Oh,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I hope you guys had
So you,
put a fire to your
mm.
boxes. Please do.
Where is your kist?
Yeah.
I fortunately I never had some other things. Some other things that people went through. There, I couldn't go through them because, like, they had no meaning with me. So I think I was never. Yeah, no. Some other things I never had. Okay, Elder.
But it was a rhetoric question to all the women here. Like, where is your kist?
And if it's you still have it, go light it and make a bonfire. Yeah, and dance around it and be free.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah. I'm ready to take my banner. Let's go, girls. Let's go. Okay.
Yeah.
I forget we are being recorded. Sorry. All right. The next one is 1884, down on the bottom of the page. The German socialist philosopher Friedrich Engels, sounds like Afrikaans, writes that matriarchal human societies were overthrown by a world historical defeat of the female sex. He's not
Wow.
wrong. He's not wrong. It's what happened.
Wow.
Women were overthrown because there is no more. How much matriarchal societies has been left in the 20th century? I can't think of really of one. Really, it's terrible. Not that I say matriarchal societies is fine, because a matriarchal, it goes from daughter to daughter. Again, then the men is left out. So it's the same coin. The one side is matriarchal, the other side is patriarchal. I don't think we should not be any of those two. We can only judge people by their actions in a way, for how they act, and we can accept them as leaders on how they act, not their status in the world, not their how rich they are, how poor they are, how the darkness of lightness of their skin, their biological sex, anything like that. If we stop doing that in the world, the world would be a beautiful place.
Mm.
But yeah, it's hard to, I had to read it a few times to understand what he is saying here. That the matriarchal human societies were overthrown by a world historical defeat of the female sex. So it's a world historical defeat because what did they do? They throw women out, strong women out in history. You don't read about them in your history books either. So, in all ways, it's been. Okay, 1900s. The Queen Asante. You guys ever heard about her before? Of Queen Asante. She was a leader in Ghana. She was you don't play with that lady. She fought for her people and for her people's independence against the British Empire. I heard a lot about her. She is a fighter. So it's nice to see these things. And that is what this woman, we're reading this not for the sake of because it's just interesting history. It's because that we can see also how well informed this lady is. That she is very well educated. Not only in books, but I think also in history and life. Angela Sahini really is. And I will see if I can get a picture of her, how she looks. I look at pictures at her because for me personally, I have to see how a person looks like. And yeah, young lady, she looks so young, but she is well. 1917, the Russian revolutions leads to the creation of the first socialist state. We know, I think that is where that, if I'm not mistaken, please help me if I'm wrong, but that's where the Tsar was overthrown. The Tsar is really another name for king in Russia. Am I right?
Mm.
So, the socialist state, you can see Stalin, all those, Putin, is all very male orientated system, if you want to say it like that.
Can I show you the Queen Mother?
Yes. Oh, yeah, there she is.
That's her.
Oh, lovely. I hope you guys heard of the Asante Empire because really, Queen Asante was, wow, she was a heck of a lady. Go, go. All right. Thank you so much, Doreen. Can you find a photo of oh man, of Angela Sahini?
Of who?
Angela Sahini.
Okay.
Okay, 1980, and she might not for us seems young, but for me, she's young. So sorry, I didn't. It is not something that I bring down on her. It's now she's still
Mm.
she's have the energy to do these things. That, and I think it's time for all the people to stand sometimes back and let the young do their thing. Look
Mm.
at her. Absolutely wonderful, lady. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Elder Doreen. Now,
Oh,
what time is it now? Another 5 minutes to go through that list and see how far we can go? What do you think?
yes.
Okay. If anybody sees no one that's interesting, please say. Oh, 1920. You guys, I take back what I say about the the socialist. 1920, Soviet Russia became the first country in the world to legalize abortion. Did you guys know that? Remember what we said about the King of the South. He is they were at one stage we thought that the King of the South are bad. Then Elder Palmina, I will never forget that day, he brought out a study that showed us that no, the King of the South is the good guy, the King of the North is the bad guy. And then he proved it by saying that he is preventing him to take over the King of the North, so America, and you have to overcome the King of the South before he can go and be a power. And well, yeah, today we can see that. But anyway, now we can see abortions. The Soviet Union, Russia, first legalized abortion. Interesting now.
Mm.
I hope it surprised you as much as it did me. I nearly forgot to show you this one. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, then 1960. Sirimova, how I'm going to say that, Bandaranaike is elected the world's first woman prime minister in Sri Lanka. I think that is super fantastic. Okay, I don't know how to feel about this one. 1976, the Kerala legislature in India abolished matrilini. So matriarchy is now being abolished in India. And even if I don't totally agree that I say both are wrong, at least in some way it's sort of balanced out. But now it's so overly patriarchal. There is no more balancing out. I don't know if I see it might be wrong.
Mm.
And then goes to remember in our lines we have 1979, and so it's interesting that she mentions too. The Iranian Revolution overthrew the ruling monarchy, leading to the creation of a conservative Islamic republic. Remember, before that, Iranian was very modern. The women wear pants, and they were like any woman in any. You could put Iranian woman and take her out of a country and put her in the middle of the United States, and she will not stand out. She looked like a modern woman. But then, thanks to United States, they were overthrown, and a conservative Islamic republic is set up. And the first thing they did is prevent women to be able to stand on their own. and from there on it just went from worse to worse. And another one here is 1989. The Berlin Wall falls, marking the start of the collapse of the Soviet Union. This is the beginning of the time of the end for us. This is a very sad one. 1994, bride kidnapping is made illegal in Kyrgyzstan. Now, to make it illegal a few years back, isn't it? It tells you how bad it is. 2001, the Netherlands become the world's first country to legalize same-sex marriages. And 2017, the International Labour Organization includes forced marriages in its statistical estimates of modern slavery for the first time. It was a few years back. They say now for the first time, oh, you know what? Forcing a girl to get married, it's slavery. You guys, it was a few years back. And we had only a year or two or three from really light. And now it's going into darkness. So much, so terrible. I'm so shocked that it didn't say 100 years ago. It feels like we all know better. Why are they now only now say forced marriages is slavery? How backwards are the governments that only accept that now at 2017? It tells you the state of the world. Okay. 2021, the Taliban returns to power in Afghanistan after 20 years of war, immediately restricted access to education and work for women and girls. The first thing a very conservative belief system does is attack women. It's always the first thing they do. You can go and look. Because the very conservatives are also very patriarchal. 2022, Saturday News, Roe versus Wade was overthrown. So, and that's the list. When we read it like that, how do you guys feel about it? Do you get upset as I do?
Yeah.
And this is not even the first page of her book, really. It's just for information-wise. So buckle up, guys. We're going in for a spin. So yeah, I thank you. Thank you for all the participation. Thank you, Dee, for helping me out. I don't know why, but
No problem.
I was so nervous. But yeah, we did it, and I'm thankful. Let's pray. Lord God, thank you that we can go back and look how some people had tackled the bear and won. But also so sad, when they tackled the bear of patriarchy, there were so many losses, so big losses. And the sad part, Lord, is it's not long ago. It's now. It's in our time. Lord, give us your grace that we can not get depressed when we see these things happen around us, that we can look up and say, Lord, everything is in your hands and we trust you. Let us hang on the ropes when the world will fail us, when we see the evilness of sin, how dark it can be. And as we study this book, Lord, that we can really see the root of it, how it started, how innocent it looked, but how bad it really had become. Thank you, Lord, that we can come to you in this time. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.